Meghan Markle is reportedly deeply upset after Prince Harry suffered another major setback in his years-long legal fight against Associated Newspapers, the company behind the Daily Mail. The court ruled that Harry did not present enough evidence to prove the newspaper had gathered its stories through unlawful methods. This was far more than an ordinary courtroom loss. According to reports, the outcome has hit Harry incredibly hard, not only on a personal level but also because of the enormous financial pressure it is expected to place on both him and Meghan. The situation quickly became much bigger than anyone expected, and the events that followed only added to the drama. Stay with us until the very end because the story takes several surprising turns, and as Harry struggles through one of his toughest moments, Meghan reportedly wants no part in the fallout.
Because when Harry's having a difficult time, Meghan doesn't want to be involved.
History teaches us that if you are not of use to the Duchess of Sussex, you're in a very lonely place, and that looks like the place where Harry is right now.
Prince Harry traveled to the United Kingdom this week, and one of the first things on his schedule was returning to court to continue a legal dispute that had stretched on for several years. He walked into the courtroom determined to fight for what he believed was justice, carrying himself with the confidence of someone who genuinely expected the decision to go in his favor. For a brief moment, it seemed as though he believed the long legal battle was finally about to end with a victory. However, the atmosphere changed completely when the judge announced the ruling. After carefully examining the evidence that had been presented, the court determined there was not enough proof for the claim to move forward, resulting in Harry's case being dismissed and bringing his latest legal challenge to a disappointing end.
One of Prince Harry's 97 allegations against the Daily Mail has been rejected. Not some of them, half of them, every single one, with the judge finding all 55 articles were lawfully sought.
The full weight of the decision reportedly began to sink in. Harry was said to have realized that the ruling affected far more than his public image. It also carried a staggering financial price. Reports estimate that the combined legal costs linked to the case could reach roughly £15 million. For someone whose major business opportunities are widely believed to be slowing down, whose public profile has faced increasing criticism, and whose earnings are often described as being far below their previous levels, that kind of financial burden is far more than an ordinary setback. It has the potential to become a serious crisis. The Duke of Sussex appeared in London alongside 6 other well-known figures, including Sir Elton John, in a high-profile legal battle against the publisher of the Daily Mail, a case reportedly worth around $100 million. In the end, the judge dismissed the claims that journalists working for Associated Newspapers had gathered stories through unlawful methods. As reports of the outcome spread in, Harry was said to be facing legal costs of around £50 million, or approximately $67 million. Meghan was reportedly furious. According to the claims surrounding the situation, her immediate concern was not the wider issues of justice or press freedom but the financial impact on their Montecito lifestyle and how such an enormous expense could affect their future. The verdict was not simply another courtroom defeat for Harry. It reportedly placed an enormous financial strain on a household that was already facing growing pressure. Critics also claim Meghan quickly blamed Harry for allowing the situation to reach this point, believing she would have handled things differently and suggesting that whenever he takes charge, the results end in disappointment. Whether those claims are accurate or not remains open to debate, but one thing is certain.
If he wins, but he's lost now. I don't think she wants to be on the arm of a loser. And what does Meghan Markle do when Harry's going through difficult times publicly? She disappears. When you think about how Jimmy Kimmel was tearing into him over Spare, and he's trying to promote, where's Meghan when he's promoting Spare? She disappears. Where was Meghan when he lost his rabbit case, when he sat down and was reaming the royal family to the BBC? Meghan mysteriously disappears. When Harry is going through difficult times, Meghan is MIA.
Situation even more difficult for Harry, according to these reports, is the timing of Meghan's apparent decision to step back just when he is dealing with mounting pressure. Recent claims suggested that, even before this legal setback, Meghan had already been encouraging Harry to find new ways to generate income. With reports of Netflix project ideas failing to gain momentum, her lifestyle brand facing ongoing challenges, and the As Ever products reportedly not selling as strongly as expected, financial concerns were said to be growing behind the scenes. Because of that, Meghan has allegedly been urging Harry to take action and pursue new opportunities, doing whatever he can to bring more money into the household as the pressure continues to build from every direction.
Markle wants Prince Harry to get a job. And what's interesting about this to me is that she could only go for so long, Brittany, with the, oh, you know, I support you doing the philanthropy and you just go and be a little fake royal and I'll be the breadwinner. But the problem is it hasn't worked. And so, of course, she puts the pressure on Harry.
The situation has reportedly become even more complicated. The very person Meghan was said to be encouraging to bring in more income may also be facing the possibility of adding a legal bill estimated at around £50 million to their already growing financial pressures. That possibility has fueled even more speculation about the couple's future and how they might handle the strain. Royal biographer Tom Bauer has also shared his perspective on their relationship, arguing that Meghan was drawn not only to the security Harry represented but also to the level of public attention that came with his royal status. Critics have taken that argument a step further, suggesting that if both financial stability and public influence continue to fade, and if Harry can no longer provide either, Meghan could eventually begin considering a different path forward. Some commentators even believe she would want to make sure there is always another option available, keeping what they describe as an escape route if the current situation becomes impossible to sustain.
You'd have to have an escape route. You'd have to find sort of a Silicon Valley or somehow aging billionaire that would want to take her on. I don't think she'd walk into the wilderness. I can't imagine any man finding happiness with Meghan Markle. I mean, I think it'll be pretty difficult. But I'm told there are Americans that would find her attractive. She dresses up and looks terrific when she wants to. In private, she is an absolutely screaming woman, unable to control her emotions when she's criticized.
Tom Bauer has also highlighted that several of Harry and Meghan's biggest commercial partnerships have already come to an end, pointing to the conclusion of their Spotify agreement as well as questions surrounding their Netflix arrangement. On top of that, public speaking opportunities have reportedly fallen short of the expectations many people once had for the couple. Because of those developments, critics argue that covering another enormous legal expense would place even greater pressure on their finances. Some commentators have gone so far as to describe this entire lawsuit as a strategy that completely unraveled. They claim Harry believed the legal action could seriously damage the Daily Mail and its publisher, yet the final outcome has, in their view, had the opposite effect by putting even more scrutiny on his own reputation. Others also believe this courtroom setback has ended up overshadowing the very purpose of Harry's trip to the United Kingdom, which was expected to highlight the Invictus Games. Instead of headlines celebrating the veterans and the competition itself, much of the public conversation has centered on his legal defeat, leaving the event that was meant to take center stage pushed into the background.
To hit while Harry's here, and he's supposed to be promoting the Invictus Games. This is supposed to be a redemption tour. This has to be a major blow not only to the ego, but to his plans over the next few days.
Harry devoted years to pursuing this legal battle and, by all appearances, believed he would ultimately come out on top. His confidence was reportedly so strong that, unlike several others involved in similar claims who chose to reach settlements, he decided to continue fighting the case all the way through the courts. In response, the Daily Mail's publisher took the opportunity to challenge the allegations directly by calling the journalists Harry had accused of obtaining information through unlawful methods and asking them to explain exactly how their reporting had been carried out.
The Daily Mail, to its credit, put on a bunch of journalists, the ones who had been accused of using illicit means as a way of getting stories on Harry and others. And all the journalists said, tell me what you're accusing me of. No, that's not how I got that story at all. This is how I got that story. And, you know, as much as a journalist doesn't like to give up his or her source, the exposing the means by which you amassed your information was necessary here because they were being accused of essentially breaking the law. So he was wrong. He's got a sick sense of paranoia.
After the court ruled against him, Harry did not quietly accept the decision or walk away without comment. Instead, he publicly responded with a statement expressing his disappointment, saying that he had gone to court in search of justice but had come away with neither justice nor accountability. He also described the ruling as what he viewed as an obvious whitewash, arguing that the evidence presented during the case had not been given the consideration it deserved. The court, however, made its position unmistakably clear. The judge explained that the outcome was based on the evidence, or more accurately, the lack of enough evidence to support the allegations. According to the ruling, Harry had not provided sufficient proof to demonstrate that journalists working for Associated Newspapers had obtained information through unlawful means, and that failure ultimately led to the dismissal of his claim.
Harry calls it a whitewash, the Mail calls it a conspiracy to destroy the paper, and lawyers say it could mark the end of historic hacking claims altogether.
While Harry may not end up being personally responsible for the entire estimated £50 million in legal costs, he could still be left with a very significant financial obligation. The exact figure will ultimately depend on how the court decides to divide the legal expenses among those involved and whether any portion of those costs is covered by insurance. Even if he avoids paying the full amount, legal analysts believe the case could still prove extremely expensive. Sir Elton John, one of Harry's fellow claimants in the lawsuit, is also expected to share part of the overall costs connected to the proceedings. Interestingly, just one day after the case came to an end, Elton John announced that he would be coming out of retirement to perform 2 concerts in Mexico City. The timing immediately caught people's attention, with some commentators speculating that the legal defeat may have encouraged him to take on new performances and generate additional income. Whether that connection is meaningful or simply a coincidence remains open to interpretation.
And I think it's wonderful that the Daily Mail fought back, that he's been humiliated, and if he has to pay some massive legal fees as a result of being wrong, because over there in the UK, it is loser pays, unlike here in America where generally everybody takes their own and walks away. Good. Maybe that'll really teach him a lesson.
Harry has also continued to maintain that security concerns make it difficult for him to travel to the United Kingdom with his family. Commentators note that he has repeatedly argued he cannot safely bring Meghan and their children to Britain without the level of protection he believes is necessary. They also claim that his ongoing efforts to secure taxpayer-funded security have led some people to question whether covering those costs privately has become increasingly difficult. Whether that perception is fair or not, many observers believe it reflects how much Harry's position has changed in recent years, with critics arguing that his influence and leverage are not what they once were. They also suggest Meghan is unlikely to be pleased with the direction recent events appear to be taking. By many accounts, Harry now finds himself facing one of the most challenging and isolated periods of his life. He left the courtroom without a legal victory, without his wife by his side, and with the possibility of significant financial obligations still hanging over him. That combination has only fueled more public speculation about what comes next for the couple. The question many critics continue to ask is whether there could come a point where Meghan decides the future she once envisioned with Harry no longer matches reality. Of course, those remain matters of public speculation, and only the people directly involved know the truth behind their relationship. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the situation, so share your opinion in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next update.